mean, I think that's better for our health in general, like
mental
having
health.
a schedule, mental health, physical health, or whatever, to have some, just a schedule or a type of work atmosphere where you're not doing so much or it's not as stressful. Like I've experienced a lot of very high stress for extended period of time, and I felt it in my body, I felt it or seen it in my health, I felt it in my energy. Like it wasn't a positive thing.
What's up, y'all? I'm Lauren.
And I'm Adrian.
And this is the Two Mics,
Two Glasses podcast, where two best friends discuss business ownership and life.
Yes, we do. Hoo.
I know we ask normally about each other's life and stuff, but I feel like today's topic is going to really dive deep into our lives.
Very.
So I feel like we should just like kind of get into it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Well, first, what are we drinking?
So you're drinking agua.
Water, ice water.
I don't know enough Spanish, but with ice. I don't know. Do you know the Espanol?
I don't even know how to say ice in French, and I took.
Yeah, I don't know.
4 years
I think with is avec.
Avec is with.
What's
That's
water
true.
in French? I forgot. I took 5 years of
French. It's like
yeah. Le. Avec ice. I don't know.
I don't know how to say ice.
Whatever. But you're drinking water.
Yes. They would say something like east.
But we are drinking a I don't know if it's a rum or it's a whiskey, but it's called
a rum.
Oh, okay, it's a rum. So it's called the Chairman's Reserved, and it's their spiced rum. It is very delicious. So.
We actually got this on our honeymoon in St. Lucia.
Oh wow, that's so special.
I know.
How did you just get the one bottle?
We got a couple bottles.
Okay.
Because it was my go-to for rum punches at the resort.
Oh, nice.
I was like, cranking it back.
Nice.
Delicious. And it's like a really good shot, too.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
So cheers.
Yeah, salut. That's not French either. Salut is...
We're speaking every language today, right?
So, what are we talking about today?
The Glamorous. Oh, wait. Maybe we should rewind. Let's start with the letters.
Okay. Oh, my God.
1, 2,
It's going to take so long.
Let's just do it.
Okay.
Glamorous, yeah.
First class.
Oh, okay. You go.
Up in the sky
With the champagne.
living the life. I pulled you. I don't know the words.
I knew it 10 minutes ago. I don't know anymore. But
You did look up the lyrics.
ooh, the flossy,
flossy.
the glamorous. Okay, that was a mess, but it was a beautiful mess.
But the question is, overall, as entrepreneurs, can you live the soft life?
Soft life. So the
Is it possible?
Is it possible to live the soft life?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great question. let's get into it. Is it possible?
So I know you love a good definition.
Yes.
What is the definition of soft
I
life?
shall read it. The soft life refers to a lifestyle that prioritizes comfort, relaxation, and minimal stress, often associated with prioritizing personal well-being over relentless hustle culture, essentially living a life with as much ease and enjoyment as possible. With roots in the Nigerian influencer community, which I never knew.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, where it originally described a way of living with low stress and prioritizing comfort, it's often depicted on social media with the hashtag soft life and is seen as a pushback against the pressure to constantly be productive.
That's a mouthful, but honestly, I remember when this soft life hashtag was like extremely popular 3 to 4 years ago, maybe.
Was there something that like sparked it, or did someone just come out with it and then people got on the bandwagon, I guess?
I don't know. I think, seeing the influencers, the travel influencers and, people showing private jets and spas and like this lifestyle online made it really, advantageous for other influencers to follow that,
Yeah.
even if it wasn't real. So it was
Yeah,
like,
I'm thinking like, yeah, now like at the time when we were seeing it, like I remember seeing people vacation or influencers vacationing on that clear float in the middle of like
Yep.
the blue water, and it just looks like they're just like always vacationing,
Yeah.
always eating
in the Maldives,
yeah.
right? Or
never
they would have,
gaining
like,
weight.
I know. They'd always be drinking wine. They'd always be at the spa. Like, it was almost like they didn't work,
Yeah.
it seemed. But, you know, obviously, not everything is what it seems.
Yeah.
But it is very interesting because sometimes it was what it seemed. So, like, is that a possibility for us? Where are we now? I mean, do you feel like since leaving corporate and starting your own business, how do you feel about like this glamorous life, this versus hustle culture? Because we actually, I think, came up more in a time where it was like, oh, you gotta grind, you gotta
Hustle
do your 9 to
hard.
5, and then you do your 5 to 10, or
Yeah.
your, you know, or it's like a, what were the other sayings? Girl boss.
Yeah, I just remember, what was a song? It was a hustle song. Was it Rick Ross?
What?
Well, there's every day I'm hustling.
Every day I'm hustling.
Like hustle was like,
And then grinding.
Yeah.
I'm grinding.
those are all men though.
Those are
that were
men.
doing it. Yeah, soft life. I like have aspirations to live a soft life. Like I really, really do, because I've had very high levels of stress over the last whatever amount of years. So yeah, I think I don't know. I guess I would call it a soft life is what my aspiration is, but it would be an entrepreneur soft life, because I don't see me ever, like, unless I'm taking an early retirement, like not needing to produce.
But is being productive the opposite of soft life, or is there a way to collaborate, like put the two together? Because for myself, like, I think I do find some value in being productive for myself. Like, I feel like when I'm not producing things, it kind of hits not my self-esteem, but like it makes me a little depressed, and I'm like, I'm doing nothing. What am I here for? Like, I just have this weird connection to being productive.
Yeah.
But is that a result of the culture we grew up in that said, you need to hustle, you need to be on it, you have to work hard, like Kim Kardashian? Remember she said that?
She said work hard?
See, even your
When did she say that?
I don't know. It was a while ago. It was a sound bite of her being like, I effing work, and y'all need to get off of your lazy butts and work hard.
I mean, I do think that she does work, but you can't take away the fact, like, how she got noticed initially, which was the Ray J sex tape. You know,
I think a lot of people came after her for that. Like, y'all gotta effing work, and we were like, don't you employ a lot of people to do the hard things?
But she had to do,
I mean,
you know, she had to do something. Like,
I think they were strategic. You
Yeah.
think they were working hard though?
it all depends on how much money she had, like, initially. So if she didn't,
But she had a well-off family. Her father represented O.J. Simpson,
okay.
so they were already pretty affluent, I would say.
So if she had access to a good amount of money, it's way easier to like get things done. Because think about just growing a business. Like, if you have money, you can do ads, you can hire a marketing team.
You can hire people.
Yeah.
And that's what allows soft life. So another question I had, which I'll say for later, is about capitalism. But it's like, is it possible to get, I mean, it's not, I don't think it's possible to have the quote unquote what people think is soft life without, you know, delegating and not, like, to me, it sounds like from this definition, it's a pushback against
minimal stress.
Yeah, I can
What is
imagine.
that? Like,
But it's a pushback to that culture that was like, we have to grind.
Yeah.
You have to work. You got to work every day.
Yeah.
Like the Gen Zs, the kids that are coming up, or the young millennials, or what's in between Z and millennial? I don't know.
I don't know what they're called.
But like the kids that are kind of like in their 20s, they're pushing back to even the 9 to 5 work life that we were used to. So
Yeah.
like, I would say like boomers and Gen X's are very traditional in 9 to 5 work. Like, we need to come to the office. We should be wearing a suit. We should be
Yeah.
acting this way.
And I feel like that's what they raised us. Like they're like, you have to go to college.
And you have to work for somebody else.
Yeah, and especially like as a woman, a black female, they're like, you need to be able to make it on your own. Like you need to have your own stuff together, because I think that their previous generation, that was something that they weren't able to have so freely.
That's true. That is true, actually. But now the kids are kind of like, why do I have to opt in to your idea of hard work? I don't think they're against working. I think they're
teenagers or like 20?
No, like early 20s.
Oh, okay.
You know, they're kind of rebelling against the 9 to 5, you know, maybe 60-hour work week, where they're like, this is hard. I don't have energy to do anything but go to work and go home. And when I get home, I just want to go to sleep. I can't go to the gym. I'm not. And, you know, we went through that, and I think found ways to find joy. Like, I wasn't going home and going to sleep after work. I was working really long hours, and then I would go out, have a drink, party, whatever. I don't know how we did that. And then I would come because it was happy hour. You know, Thursday network, mixers. It was always something going on. So we were out in these streets.
Yeah.
But like, I saw a post recently with this younger girl was just like, is this life?
I feel like we were working really hard. Like maybe straight out of college, I feel like I wasn't working as hard, because I remember I was able to do weekday activities a little bit more freely. Like when you would stay out late on a weekday and still you gonna make it to work and be together. But like where I'm at now, like I have to plan for the morning. We doing it tonight. We going out to a birthday dinner, start at 8:30 p.m.
I'm looking at her like, girl, I want to leave the house after 8 o'clock. But when we were younger,
that was nothing.
It was nothing. But now they're like, I don't have the energy to do anything but go to work. And I'm wondering,
and we have to show up.
Culture.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the way that we have to show up at work is way more than
what they have
maybe
now.
10 or 15 years. Well, even us, like 10 years ago.
What do you mean?
Well, so like when I was fresh out of school or whatever, and I had an entry level position, how I was contributing to the company and stuff was a lot less important than where I'm at now. So like if I come in, I would come in on time, but if I come in a little sleepy and stuff, it doesn't matter. Like it's
when
like
you're younger.
Yeah, so like my early 20s right out of school. So like I was able potentially to live a softer life and kind of do what I wanted, because I didn't have as much responsibility with work or with life. Yeah. And now, 15 years later, like I have a lot of responsibility, not even just with work, but with my family and stuff too. So it's like almost impossible for me personally to live that same life
that we did back then.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is the younger kids are not even wanting to do what we used to do. They're like, why do we need to come to the office? Why do I need to dress up? Nobody's seeing me. I'm not client facing. Like they're pushing back on the status quo that was, there, from generations before. And I don't want to say that they're wrong. I don't think they're wrong.
Are they still employed after they're pushing back?
That's a good question. I'm not sure about that. I just know that this girl was online crying. Okay. She was upset. Okay, she looked like she might have been 24, 25, just getting into the workforce and realizing like, oh, this is for the birds. Like, I don't want to do this.
It is for the birds, honestly.
It is. And we felt the same way. So is it fair for us to judge them for, like, I know a lot of people would judge that as like, girl, we went through it, so you can get through it too. Yeah. But should they have to go through it? Well, or should they maybe evolve? Should we evolve into not being such a work-heavy culture? Like the United States in particular have a ridiculously work-focused culture.
Like, isn't it like in Europe or in France, they have like a 2-hour lunch?
Yeah.
And
they get off. Don't they get a summer break or something?
Maybe.
Don't get me the line.
I do. I mean, I think that's better for our health in general. Like
mental
having
health.
a schedule, mental health, physical health, or whatever, to have some, just a schedule or a type of work atmosphere where you're not doing so much or it's not as stressful. Like, I think that whatever, I don't know what, they're not millennials, right? I don't know what they are.
No, I don't think they're millennials. Okay. I think millennials are kind of stuck in between. pushing back. We are.
Oh, okay.
Ma'am, what?
But I don't know what the range, like where it starts and stops.
I don't know where it stops. Yeah, I think it starts like at 81 or 82 or 83. Okay.
But you don't know how young.
I don't know how young it goes.
Yeah, I think they have something to it. I think
there is something to it.
Yeah, because I've experienced a lot of very high stress for extended period of time, and I felt it in my body. I felt it or seen it in my health. I felt it in my energy. Like, it wasn't a positive thing, even though I was doing things like I'm grinding from a business and I was doing what I had to do. It didn't feel good.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good. I remember, I love the point that you made about like how when you're younger, your work, it holds less responsibility. I remember at some point when I was like in my early 20s, I definitely could go to work hungover and get through the day. I didn't have to take the day off. I probably wanted to take the day off. But I would get very little done.
I definitely gotten sick at work before.
Oh, for sure. From whatever we did, the park at 14, the night before.
Right. But I was still at work. I didn't leave.
Because that's back when I used to drink tequila. You know, I can't drink that stuff no more. Back when I used to drink vodka and stuff, going to work the next day was, you know, it was a struggle, but I would get through the day.
Yeah.
And there with, you know, somewhat minimal effort.
Yeah.
But then, you know, fast forward to when you do have that responsibility. You cannot, there's no way I could just be out partying and then go to work the next day and then fully contribute. Right. Even now, having client meetings and the things that I need to do now. I have to
take off if I'm feeling that bad.
If I'm feeling sick.
Yeah.
If I'm,
you have to tell every single client, every meeting, everything.
Yeah, you just gotta.
It can be a big inconvenience.
Right. So it's like, well, how then, if as we grow and our careers grow, we're taking on more and more and more, you're making more money, ideally. But how do you ever get to this life where it felt soft? Yeah. It's just like a very, it's a weird mentality, especially with the way that we're required from a cultural perspective in the United States to put out work. What is respectable? What are the things that we want for ourselves? How do we get the salaries we want? It's almost like you're working to
get to a soft
this soft life, but it's almost impossible with what you have to do to get the money to have a soft life.
Yeah, I don't think it's impossible, especially not through entrepreneurship, but I do think it can be very, very challenging, and you may have to
work. I mean through 9 to 5.
Oh, 9 to 5. Yeah.
I feel like it's impossible. I've seen managers, VPs, in accounting and audit, what I saw from the people making a ton of money, it was not possible. Yeah. Soft life is not possible. Maybe if they go on vacation, very rarely they go on vacation, and they have to work on vacation. Like, that's what the culture is. And
I remember when you were talking about your experience, like at your last job, and you were like, the women, like, I think they may have kids or something. It don't seem like they really spend much time with them. Like, it just seemed like kids. They had a horrible work-life balance.
I remember it just being like them stressing so much about the things they have to do for their children, but then also not always being able to be there and having a massive amount of guilt for prioritizing whatever work thing over certain, or they would take on crazy schedules. So like my manager in particular was a vice president. She got to vice president. She worked her butt off. Like, I have a lot of respect for her work ethic. She would get into the office around 7, leave at 3, hop back on after getting her kids, helping them with their homework at 6, 7 o'clock at night, and then work till 11, 12, 1 in the morning. Like, I would see her online, and you know I'm a night owl, so I would be online late, or I would check emails and see something from her, and I'm like, girl, you gotta be at the, and she's commuting an hour and more to get to where we were. So it was like she wasn't leaving her house like around 7. She was leaving her house at like 5:30. Yeah. And it's like, I was looking at her like, oh, this, if I were to continue to grow in this position, in this department, that is the top of where I would go. I don't want that life.
Yeah. It's like, it really feels different now. Like, I do feel like I don't know, however many years ago, when I aspired to be like a CMO's chief marketing officer or whatever, high level marketing, person in a C-suite, in a corporation, it felt like that was really the only way. Like your life was going to be like that. But it just, I don't know. Like one of the reasons I went into entrepreneurship, especially full-time entrepreneurship, is so I can make my life my own. Yeah, I could make my own schedule. I could, manage when I wanted to work and how hard I wanted to work and stuff. And that's something that I'm still working towards, because I just, with the amount of stress that I felt, and I'm trying to think like what was really bringing the stress, because it's really crazy when you think about it. So when you think about hustle culture and everything that we've talked about so far of what what it consists of, to me it sounds like a heart attack. Like it really does. It really does, because you're dealing with high amounts of stress for extended periods of time. You're dealing with a terrible work-life balance. And I don't know if I'm just viewing life differently nowadays, but like if we have, God willing, 100 years on this earth, like, do you really want to spend 40 of those years or whatever with that
50,
type of life?
60.
And it impacts you. It impacts what happens. You gonna be in retirement, or your former boss gonna be in retirement, and she's not gonna be well.
She's gonna have a lot of money though.
She is, but if you have a lot of money and you're not even really able to enjoy it, like,
what's the point?
Yeah.
Are you living to work or working to live?
Right.
Like, I would say, if I'm thinking about my life now in particular, I am way closer to the soft life from the perspective of stress, because my job, actually COVID was like the least amount of stress I had, even though I still had a lot of work.
That was the intro to your like better work-life balance.
Right. I still had a lot of work to do. So,
but you were home. Like,
I was
in a more
home.
comfortable environment.
So I was exercising. I lost a lot of weight. I was cooking.
You didn't have to commute?
This thing that my commute, after my first job where I was commuting like 2 hours, I refused to ever live that far from work ever again. My commute has never been bad since I've been in Virginia.
Put on, like, you didn't have to put
dressed.
on, like, yeah.
Was it
from the waist up?
Right. And a lot of times we wouldn't be on camera because people didn't want to. And they got tired of it. Unless you were with certain people. If you were with certain people, they were annoying. But for my team, like my very close team, they didn't want to be on camera.
Right.
They normally have makeup on. I didn't wear makeup to work. But if you have makeup and all this other stuff, you really have to put on to get to the office.
And literally, you wear makeup to just be home.
To be home. I wasn't putting on. I put on some Carmex. But the thing is like being home during COVID was a glimpse into a life that I just didn't think was possible.
Yeah. And
so then leaving corporate, I realized like my gripe with a lot of the issues in corporate was not the work I was doing, but the people I was around and like the office politics, the bureaucratic things that always happened, like basically a white man being like, do this because I said so, not for any particular reason, not for any logical reason. And then sometimes when you ask the question about why, you would get you would get the fury of that person, because it's like, who are you to ask why? And so leaving that, I feel like I have way less stress from that perspective. But now I have financial stress, which is a different type of stress though. But it's like, is it a softer life because I do make my own schedule, because I do have the opportunity to now decide where I'm putting my mental capacity toward? That to me, the financial stress is worth it to now have this really unimagined life that I can have where I'll be home with my child.
Right.
Like, I never saw that as a possibility. And I think that from my perspective, it's a much softer life than being in corporate this whole time. So can entrepreneurs have a soft life? It's hard. I mean,
I think so. I think you can work towards it. I think you can have a softer life than working in corporate. Well, you know what it is? I feel that entrepreneurs can have high income, soft life easier than corporate high income. Like corporate high income, I honestly cannot think of any C-suite position or high position,
That's
you know,
not
earning
stressful
over
AF.
100K, that you have a soft life. Like, I can't
It's
think of
so
any
stressful.
unless it's your business, and if it's your business, you're an entrepreneur. So like,
Yeah.
I think that,
And that takes me to my capitalism point is because capitalism banks on exploiting people for the corporation in total to make more money, we're as employees of the corporation are automatically going to be put through the ringer, and like, you know, they slice down work to skeleton crews so
Yeah.
that the least amount of people are doing the most amount of work
overworked,
possible.
underpaid. Yeah.
Right. So it's like by design that you are at this business
It definitely is.
working to capacity because they want to get the most
It
out
is.
of you possible. They're not
Especially
thinking
in
about
this
you.
time of like in the
In the
current
environment.
economy and everything that we're in now.
Like, and it's changed from our parents and like Gen X and whatever. Like, I don't think it was the same, which is why we see this pushback from the
Yeah.
kids, because the culture was different. I mean, you may still have had like an asshole boss or whatever, but it might not have been like, well, I expect you though to work 60 to 70 hours per week for this,
Yeah.
you know, $50,000
Yeah.
position.
I think like when I think back to I don't know if it was my mom's time or if it was like my grandma's time, but when I think back to just like relationships, marriages, and the dynamics of it, the man was the one that went to work, the woman stayed home, took care of the house, took care of the kids. That, I mean, I'm not like a super like traditional roles type of person, but that balance basically meant that the man had the work life stress or whatever, which there are studies that say that men can endure a higher level of that type of like stress or whatever than a woman can.
You think so? Well, you said
There
studies.
studies.
Okay.
That's not personal opinion. Literally, there are studies that show different things like that. So what that means is that with the woman, like, we have our own stresses, and obviously we can endure those stresses too. So if you think of taking care of a house or family, you know, whatever's going on with the house, whatever's going on with the kids, and I know with kids and baby to be, you know, it's expensive, it's stressful, it's a lot going on, but we have an instinct in us that allows us to better be able to ebb and flow in the ups and downs of parenthood and stuff. So it was like kind of like different places. So I'm sure you're enjoying this episode, but we wanted to quickly pop in to let you know about the cool swag we're wearing today. AMW Apparel is a line of inspirational and entrepreneurial clothing for those looking to stand out and make a statement to their following. We provide comfortable and high quality t-shirts, sweatshirts, tank tops, and more. Enter code 2 mics 2 glasses, which is the number 2 MICS, the number 2 again, GLASSES with no spaces, for 10% off your first order at shopwithamw.com. Link in the description. We appreciate your support. It was like kind of like different places. So I'm not,
in the days, what you
maybe
saying?
20s, let's say 1920s or something. It was a while ago, long time ago. And then as time went by, there were more laws that were able to come into play where women were able to get more ability to help work, which obviously I agree with, you know, because I'm, you know, female, was it boss?
Girl boss?
Girl boss.
I hate that term so much. Lady boss.
Yeah, so like I definitely, you know, encourage women going into business, but I will say that I don't think the natural design was for women to be working, slaving away at work, and then come home. We never lose the responsibility of the house and the family, even if they're shared roles. There is always a higher level of responsibility on the woman to take care of certain things. So the main thing is the family. The main thing is the
so you're
kids.
saying in this country, that's what we're socialized to do, because that's just socialization. That's
just how it is.
Typically, it's not to say, like, I think because we're socialized to believe that, that's what happens. So when women go into the workplace and act the same as a man, they're treated differently. there's different things that come in because of the bias that is implicit in our cultural norms in this country, or previous cultural norms in this country. Women were oppressed, not necessarily welcome to the workplace. So then it made it a lot harder for them to get to where they are and whatever. And so it's like, you know, a lot of men didn't want that the way that things were to change, because then who's going to be there to cook and clean and prepare for me? Who's there to cater to me?
And that brings up another good point. So like, the thing is yes, like we want women working. We are, you know, these women that are working really hard, achieving, and we're women that are high earners or whatever, and sometimes even higher than our partners. So there's a big financial kind of thing that's in play too with us. But I think, you know, we both enjoy, for the most part, what we do in our work and stuff. But there has to be some give for us to have a soft life, like, you know, and work how we're working and have a family or have a partner. There has to be some give. So we're not able to.
So can we keep up the business, the home life, and then also have this soft life?
We need help.
Or do we have to have a partner? Can you have the soft life without a partner?
Well, okay. So two things I think of. The first thing I was going to say is that we need help. So like, we were not created to be working to the bone at whatever type of job and then taking care of house and home. It's too much. It's too much. Not fully like being 100% everywhere. No,
that's
it's
true.
too much. So like that means that we need support from the partner. You know, in those situations there would be a partner. So you need support from the partner, and you probably need outside help. Like you need to hire a cleaner. You may need to hire a chef or order meals or something. Like you got to figure, or maybe the man is the one that meal preps for the week for the family. Like there has to be some ebb and flow there, and it will be impossible for us to have a soft life if you have those 100% responsibilities.
So when you're the only person, so I guess to get the soft life, it reminds me of Rachel Rogers, who has the book We Should All Be Millionaires. I think that's what it's called. But in that book, I remember her saying, you are in this position where you feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders because you are trying to do it all yourself, and it's just impossible. You need to delegate or get over yourself, right? Like some of it is, oh, you think you can be everything to everybody, but you're just like putting yourself in this position unnecessarily. It's like almost like self-inflicted pain. It really is. Because you feel like you have to meet these cultural norms that have been placed on your shoulders.
And it's like, it's even harder to grow a business to probably wherever your goals would be, doing it all by yourself. Like you have to get some help if you want a successful business.
And I think I've actually met a man that I won't speak on who they were or where they were from.
Very traditional.
Mentioned how important it was for his significant other to provide home cooked meals, to do specific things.
If you need me doing every day, that's my job. I'm not.
That means I'm not working.
Yeah.
I mean,
but the nouveau man is not cool with the woman not working. Yeah.
So it's like, you know, how we're treading on thin ice now, but you know, how do we find that partner, that actual partner that takes on, you know, I feel like in my household I am very clear that I am not here to be your maid or to serve you. We are here to serve each other. So whatever what you need, what I need,
both of you all make your lives easier.
Right. I also was very clear that you were eating before we got married. You were bathing and cleaning before we got married. And that is something that you should expect to continue to do. If I can't cook,
for yourself,
you should be able to feed yourself and me.
Yeah.
You know, like we should be able to come together and meet whatever need. Like in this season in my life where I am extra pregnant, I can't even bend down without getting out of breath. So
so you have to pick up some slack.
I can't do
that. And imagine
myself.
if you were the woman that was doing all the cooking and cleaning. Like, what would he do? What did those relationships do when the woman's super pregnant?
Listen, I don't know, but I think like even if it's my responsibility, let's say like we have a household and we choose that this is the role. you take care of the home, you take care of the kids, you take care of the cooking. He can work and blah, blah, blah. Don't get mad if I outsource that. And I think that's kind of what Rachel is saying in her book. Outsource things. Don't put that pressure on yourself to feel like you have to be the one to provide everything to everybody. I don't think it's a fair living. I think women just need to get over that very, very traditional view of who we are and what we have to do to bring value to this world. Like,
or to your relationship.
Right. You know, do not boil my value down to household chores. That is not what I bring to the table fully. I have so much more that we can accomplish together if you just see the value in what you bring past, you know. And I could cook now, don't get
right. I can
but
cook
if I
too,
don't want to,
and I like to cook, but it has to be a balance. Like if I'm ending work at 9 or 10 p.m., obviously I'm not cooking whatever dinner or like, you know.
And it's just really about like, what are the things that we can put in place in our lives to keep our mental health and our self-care a priority. And that leads to me closer to having that quote unquote soft life in my eyes. Now, what is portrayed in social media as soft life and what I see as soft life are two very different things.
And we don't even know what's real or what's fake on social media, honestly.
Don't come for the girls now.
You know, people are being revealed or whatever as being fake and faking the soft life. So they're like,
especially those trad wife, or what are they called? What are the ones that are into like hypergamy?
Yeah, I don't know what they're called. But yeah, the hypergamy ones. And if you don't know what hypergamy is, it's basically dating like specifically dating someone that has a higher financial
so that you can live in your femininity, quote unquote.
But they have their own issues, and a lot of times some of those people, not all, but some that are fully supported by their husband or their partner without working, there's a control issue going on. So you never want that power dynamic in the relationship. But it really is on the man, because like,
it's not her fault.
Don't get a man that's going to be controlling. But some of those men who've earned a lot of money feel like that's what they should be getting. Like they can get and do whatever they want. I wanted to touch on something that you asked me earlier about, do you have to have a partner to live a soft life? Because there's, you know, I was single for a long period of time, up until my late 30s pretty much, and I was an entrepreneur, kind of doing it all myself and stuff, and I still did desire some form of a soft life. So I do not think that you have to have a partner to live a soft life. I think that you need to be fiscally responsible. So you need to start by not living over like your means and what you can afford. Like you really, if you follow the 50-30-20 financial rule, you should not be spending more than 50% on your living expenses. So look at your, you know, net income and calculate and see how much, what percentage is your rent and stuff. And it's very easy to go over the 50%, especially if you're in a luxury apartment, and especially being the only person. So I think that if you really like try and live within your means, or live even below your means sometimes, and I did that for a long time when I had a condo. Sometimes buying can allow you to pay less and still kind of have the comforts that you would like.
But I also think that soft life is a perspective. Like it's a very subjective thing. What you see as soft life, what I see as soft life versus what everybody else may see could be very different. Some people see soft life as taking private jets. They're not trying to stay in nobody's.
Soft life is so subjective. Like it's so just subjective. Like whatever you consider soft life.
So for me, I felt like I had a way softer life being able to work from home every day. Like I don't have to deal with, you know, going to the office and, you know, dealing with the things that were really plaguing me mentally. Even if I still have like pressure at work to get things done, and to me that's like very soft. You know, going to the office every day is hard. You know, especially like right now, how I feel thinking of other pregnant women who have to do that and go
they're
to the office
going,
every day.
Put on the outfit.
Yeah, and your clothes don't fit at all. I still have to be presentable and put on heels.
And y'all were kind of dressed up too. At your
Yeah, we
office.
used to dress business casual until after COVID. Then it was jeans Friday. So it was not every day we could wear jeans, or was it? I don't remember. But I remember it was jeans Friday, and then I think it was jeans most days.
Okay.
But like,
I was like, that took a long time for them to get to a Friday.
we had jeans Fridays prior to COVID.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, I was 10 years in the game wearing business casual. You know, I had, so being pregnant and then having to, you can have to buy clothes. Wardrobe. You have to buy new clothes. And you have to, like, the nap time that I need, it might be like a 10-minute, like, I remember my good friend was pregnant while we were still in the office full time, and I would go to her. She was in a very great location strategically because she was not in the eye of, you know, like, it was hard to see her desk.
Oh, okay.
And she would be falling asleep in her later months of pregnancy, and she was just sick the whole time. And
oh no,
you know, I just could not imagine.
How long was she sleeping for?
Child, I don't know. I'd be going over there like,
wake up.
What is happening? But I don't think she got caught, but she also
had twins, right?
Yeah, she had twins. So, you know, she was going through some things, and I wish she had the flexibility to be like, I mean, now after the fact, I think she has garnered the ability to negotiate and get some of the things that she wants. Okay. But it took so much work for her to get to
now
this
she
point.
Done with making kids.
I know. But she's still like been able to create, like, garner favor at work to get some of the things that she wants through negotiating with the right people. Yeah. But it's like very rarely do people have that opportunity to do that. So it's like, I could not imagine. To me, this is soft life. Okay. But
what about 5 years from now or 10 years from now?
I want a backyard. That's soft life.
What's the life that you would envision, your soft life?
My soft life?
10 years from now.
I think delegation is a big part of that. So for me, the ability to delegate to the tasks that either I don't want to do or I'm not great at, that can be done faster by somebody else. I think that's
like
huge
a contractor or employee.
That's a huge part of soft life. Like, you know, me being able to delegate work that that I'm not good at. I don't have that flexibility to do that right now.
Yeah. So you would be working for yourself still.
Definitely working for myself still. And
then you have
able
contractors
to delegate,
employees.
Right. That are getting paid a living wage to work a fair amount of work. Like, I don't want to overwork people to get what I want.
Give them the soft life too.
Yeah. I mean, that's ideal. But like, that means picking the right clients. So you have the right clients that allow you to move and shake and live that life. So that takes curating and really just becoming really great at what you do, to me. So for me, being the expert in my field, I mean, you know, I have aspirations of getting more certifications
and the music school,
putting myself on this, you know, putting myself in the position to not have to be in the trenches and in the work. I think that allows me to live the softer life. Okay. So where I'm delegating and I'm having meetings and I'm giving the work away and actually being able to be more of a visionary. Yeah. I think that allows for a softer life in my head for me. Yeah. And then that means that I can step away from the business. Yeah. Go on vacation, do what I need to do. But for me, soft life doesn't mean no work. That's just not how I feel.
It feels weird, like not working.
It does. And we were raised to be that way, but I don't know. What about you?
So I've always...
In 10 years.
Yeah, in 10 years. I'm going to be in my 40s. Ooh, late 40s. So I am, you know, I work on my 5-year plan. Okay. I honestly never wanted a lifestyle where I was working 40 hours a week. So like I went into entrepreneurship knowing that the goal was to be able to be there for my kids, like to be around, to not be working all the time. And I think that came from the way I was raised, because my parents, they were in corporate, they were working a lot, getting home late. They never really cooked, like we always ate out. And I really miss, we never ate at the table dinner or anything. We were like a TV, not TV dinner quality, but like TV tray family.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And I just wanted a different dynamic in my future household. So my ultimate goal would be, well, I'm gonna start with saying that I have to work. Like, just the personality that I have and how I feel when I'm not working or try to relax. It feels weird sometimes.
It does.
Probably not good.
Which is problematic.
I know, it's probably not good, but I think that I'm the type of person, I'm a creator. And so I'm the type of person that always has an idea or something, and I'm able to get out my creative ability through the work that I do. So I want to, and I'm a people person and want to interact with people. So I want to work a part-time schedule. So I would love to work no more than 20 hours a week.
Okay.
So each day would probably be no more than 5 hours a day, and it may ebb and flow the amount of work that I'm going to do. I want to have a really nice home office that allows me, if it's a day that I want to just, stumble into my home office, not stumble, but like, I'm not a morning person, so I'll be sleepy or whatever.
But you still get up so early. I know,
because I haven't. It's the only way my habits are. But I do want to, like, a day or whatever when I'm not feeling like, I want to drive into an office or something. So I want to have it very comfortable at home and have everything that I need to be able to do what I need to do at home. I want to definitely be a CEO, a manager top level, which means that I'm probably creating nothing. I am the visionary. I'm giving my idea, to other people that work for me.
But that does take a lot. I think heavy is the head that wears the crown. So like, we're saying we want to have these CEO manager positions, but we are the ones who are responsible for these people who are working for us.
And I don't have a big issue with the responsibility. So like, even in my company and companies over the years, it's not the responsibility really that's been my burden. It's been the not enough hours in the days or weeks to complete everything. So it's really being the executor that's the problem. It's just like, that's what wears me thin. It wears me thin. I loved it, when I was initially doing it, but now I'm at a point where I'm just in a different phase of my life where I don't really have the desire to execute, but I have a lot of great ideas and I'm pretty good at managing people and stuff. So I want to be able to tell somebody something and it happens. So maybe that also means that there's someone in between my people who are working and me being the CEO.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think there's this book, shout out to Michelle for showing me this book, but I think it's the 6 Working Geniuses.
Oh, I thought you were going to say 4-Hour Work Week.
Oh, yeah, that's another book she loves also. But no, it's the 6 Working Geniuses, which talks about the different types of people in the workforce in general. You have those executors, you have your middle managers, you have your visionaries. Visionaries aren't typically good at executing. Executors aren't typically good at managing people or being visionaries. And so figuring out where you lie in those working geniuses is extremely important to figure out what a soft life looks for you.
Yeah.
Soft life to executors would be not having to manage anybody. They just want to do their craft and do it well and not be bothered, and you as the visionary need to know who to place on your team to implement your vision. Like, knowing the type of person you are will help you to really curate the life that would be the least amount of stress for you. And if you're an entrepreneur, curating the business that will allow everyone to work in their genius will allow everything to kind of get to the point where everyone feels satisfied in those positions. So understanding that stuff goes into delegating your task and figuring out where you want to be. If you are an executor or if you are like a middle manager, you love people, you love helping people achieve goals and things like that, that could be like a great spot for you.
Right.
But you don't want the responsibility of being the visionary, having to provide everything for everyone, right? Like, as a CEO, you may be the person who is bringing in new business or creating new opportunities for the people on your team.
I'm in a situation now where, so I've been doing my business 12 years altogether, 6 years full time. And I'm just like in a position now where I like being the visionary, but I'm also the executor in some things. And it's not that I dislike the executor, but you just want somebody to manage it, because it really takes away from your visionary capabilities when you're also executing.
Right. It takes away from maybe the ideas you might have, the new creative things you want to do.
Right.
So, whew, ciao.
Yeah, that's a lot. And I feel like we may need a part 2 one day,
Yeah, because it's just like a very interesting perspective of, I think it's so subjective.
Yeah.
Soft life is so subjective. So deciding what you want, I think is really like the key to curating the life that you want to live.
I think also starting small. So if you're in a place where you feel like, I can't live a soft life. Like I need to, we're trying to achieve goals or whatever. Like, trying to get a work-life balance is important. Making time for relaxation and for breaks. So as an entrepreneur, getting massages or whatever you need to do, and also taking time off of vacations. Like, when you're an entrepreneur, vacations aren't optional. They are literally required. Even if it's a staycation, you literally need a break because you're on in a level that you've never been on before.
Yeah, I had an advisory client, took a week or 2 off, came back refreshed, renewed. They wanted to quit before.
Yeah, I've been there.
They took 2 weeks off.
We're like, ooh,
and came back
feeling drained. Like, oh Lord, I need a break. But then when that vacation's coming, which I know my vacation's coming, I'm
you're real hyper now.
Like, I just keep my eye on the prize on that date. But what should we cheers to?
Yeah,
this is really.
We got to toast to maybe like I don't know,
balance.
I
mean, it starts with the work-life balance.
Yeah,
you got to get it right if you.
It does. I mean, but to get there, you gotta hustle a little bit. Like, you gotta put the pieces together.
Or delegate.
You gotta put the pieces together. So I guess here's to curating the life you want.
Okay, I like that.
Ciao. Cheers. Bling bling.